Happy Sunday, my people. This is The Goddess Within by Hecatehoney, and this is a video on how to choose yourself. Choosing ourselves is very important in the sense that we honor who we are. We honor our inner children, our inner selves. We honor our overall being and understandings, and that we're gentle with ourselves and in our continual growth and learning. And showing up for yourself, choosing yourself, is one way to do this. This is one of the ways I've really learned how to be there for myself. You know, before, as a child, you rely on others to be there for you, to show up for you, to take care of you. And so a lot of times you get these messages of, don't be selfish, go with the flow. The world doesn't revolve around you, which as a kid, I was pretty self-centered. And so I really thought the world did revolve around me. But, you know, it also sent mixed messages that maybe I shouldn't make loving actions towards myself, that it should only be for other people. Or, you know, I had a lot of negativity in my head. In one of my previous videos, I talked about my head being like, rah, 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 and always, sorry, it's my cat, she's climbing, and always being harsh and negative. And choosing myself was one of the ways that I learned how to honor myself within. And so first, we have to decide to choose yourself. You have to decide, make the decision to choose yourself today. And how are you going to do that? What's going to bring you joy? What's going to make you feel good about who you are? One of the ways I do this is with my food. This is a recent development because I'm a big girl and I've definitely disassociated from my body from past, you know, like childhood abuse. But I've gotten the opportunity to fully inhabit my body lately. Like I've been doing this over a span of time, but lately it's really hit home where I only want to put in food when I'm hungry. I only want to eat things that are good for me. I also eat in a smaller window of time. And for some reason, this kind of, it's not even like a force where I feel like I'm depriving myself or anything, but I'm making a choice. And that choice is to be more in my body and mindful about my food. And I have to be very vigilant. So staying present is really important. So this is one of the ways I'm choosing myself, is by choosing what foods I eat, what kind of diet I'm on, not like, you know, a diet to just lose weight, but just a living mindful eating plan. And that has to do with a lot of organics, veggies, proteins. And so by making those choices, that's like a way I'm showing up for myself. And it's actually really kind of revolutionized my life. And because I have a whole new approach to it, and it's a more of a self-loving way rather than, no, don't eat that. You know, I've always been told, no, don't eat that. Or why are you eating that? Oh, you're so fat, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm done with that. So one of the ways, this is like my biggest way I'm choosing myself right now, is by what foods I choose to eat. Another way I chose myself, and that you can choose yourself, is having a voice. A lot of times I wouldn't have talked about abuse or what people told me. And it's not that they did anything wrong. They were doing the best they could at the time. But I perceived, you know, these in a negative fashion and then internalized that there's something wrong with me, which there isn't anything wrong with me. That what was wrong is my perceptions on how I viewed myself and the actions I took towards myself. But in a conscious decision to choose myself, I decided not to perceive myself that way anymore. And one of the ways that I did that was by having a voice and expressing how I felt, and even making these videos. Like, I have a voice and I have something to say, and a lot of times I wouldn't have said those things previously. I would shy away from conflict or confrontation, and I wouldn't tell you what my needs were or ask them to be met. And now I have a voice that I use, and I say, you know, this isn't okay with me, or, oh, I feel uncomfortable. Or I remove my energy from situations if I'm finding them to be not appropriate. And I get to be really honest with where I'm at. And having a voice and expressing your needs and wants is so important. And a lot of times we find that once we do start expressing ourselves and voicing our needs, that we're around people who can't meet those needs. And that's a shock. A lot of times when I was younger, I would tell myself, no, my expectations are too high, or, that I was wrong for wanting something. But the truth is, like, yes, I can have my expectations, I can change them, but I also don't want to lessen my own value. So in valuing myself, I feel like it's very important to express my needs and have a voice about how I feel. So that's one way to choose yourself. Another way is exercise. I'm a big girl. I don't like to exercise, so I don't call it exercise. So I like to walk. I take walking meditations now, and I've been walking so much more now than I ever have in my whole life. And I'm just finding it's a way to validate my own feelings about myself. Like, yes, we're going to move today. Yes, I'm going to get you some energy. Yes, I'm going to put my skin in the sun. Yes. And so by this action towards movement, it's validating my own self-worth. And that's a beautiful thing. I actually started doing this as a result of something or someone, and but I ended up I had to do it for myself. And so by even when I don't necessarily want to, I'll say, okay, we're going to walk 5 minutes just to get myself out there. But I always end up walking longer, and I enjoy it so much, and I feel so good when I get back. So that's another way to choose yourself, is exercise. Sorry, I made a list. Being heard is really important. A lot of times when two people are conversing, or a group, you can feel not heard or misunderstood. So a lot of times what I do is, if I'm having a conversation, I'll repeat back what I think I heard to the other person, and then they can correct my perception or restate or explain more. And I like when other people do this for me, because I realize I don't necessarily hear what someone is saying exactly, and my perception is wrong. And feeling heard and understood is so important. And finding your tribe, I feel like this is part of finding your tribe, the people who you can relate to and who relate to you. And not everybody is going to be part of your tribe, and that's okay. You can be loving and kind to all, but you don't have to form close associations with people who don't make you feel supremely comfortable and loved and appreciated. And you can be polite. You can, not necessarily spend a lot of time with those people. You can honor them, acknowledge them and their presence and their meaning in your life. But I feel like for really deep understanding and feeling heard, finding your tribe is so important. I have a very close group of individuals, and there's not a lot, but each of those people honors me, acknowledges me, and validates how I'm feeling, and I hope I do the same for them. So being heard is especially important for choosing yourself. Also, self-care. So there's self-care. I'm thinking of self-care in the practices we do each day that make us feel important to ourselves. So for me, flossing my teeth is a big self-care thing, because I don't like to do it, but I know it's really good for me. So I know I'm taking care of myself if I'm flossing, just with the food thing, eating healthier foods, getting out, making sure I get enough sleep. That's very important. I've been recently going to bed at 11 to try to make sure I get 7 hours of sleep. The movement, so I sleep well, and trying to be less negative. So one of my self-care practices right now is journaling, and it helps me monitor my feelings each day. And you know, because sometimes, especially as a woman, it's regulated by a monthly cycle, but it also, I feel like, has to do with weather and moods and the people I'm around or what happened that day. So it really gives me a clear way to see how my moods have progressed. And also, you know, the idea, like, I'm very empathetic, so the idea of separating my feelings from other the outside environment, the external environment's feelings of other people or the earth, etc. And just like the other day, I was driving home. I had a great day at work. It was good. I was driving home. I was all happy. And all of a sudden, I just started crying. And I realized, like, okay, these aren't my emotions. What's going on? Am I around? Do I need to, like, what I do is I'll make a sacred circle to protect myself from out the external environment, so I'm not a big sponge. But you know, I was questioning this, and as this question came up, I had like a message from spirit. And in the past, I've always had you know, these overwhelming feelings take over. I always considered it a bad thing, like a curse. And why do I have to feel the world's pain? But what this message gave me was that this isn't a curse. This is a gift. It's not necessarily pain. It's just feelings. And I get to transmute them. I get to transform them through myself. And like, I realized my perception can be so off that something I'd been looking at as negative all this time was actually a positive gift from God and the universe. So, you know, the journaling helped me see that I had a wrong perception. I do this in relationships. I get perceptions and they can be totally wrong. And, you know, I'll check myself with the other person, but a lot of times people don't like to be asked questions. And so, like, engaging a relationship and my place in it and whether it's a right thing for me, journaling helps that a lot. So that's a huge self-care tip for me. Also, morning rituals are very important for self-care, which I'm working on that right now. Morning rituals. Like what I do the first thing when I wake up, normally I'm just rushing to get like stuff like myself ready and then I just get out. But I really want to cultivate kind of like a buffer time between me, like waking up, and me entering the world. So that would be a really good self-care thing. And I think that's another video I'm going to do, are morning rituals, because I've been researching it a lot. Let's see. Joystealers. Okay, so other people in your life can be joy stealers, or you could be the joy stealer in reaction to people, places, situations, events. So in terms of other people being the joy stealers, this is something you're allowing by continuing to like choose to be around certain people or to engage with other people. And in the past, I've had to just remove myself from others that I felt like sucked my energy or were very negative or not able to deal positively with the world or themselves. And then in the most recent past, I was the joy stealer of my own joy because I had negative reactions and I had expectations. I don't even want to say high. I had expectations, and I allowed that to steal my joy. And so, like, in that situation, I had to remove myself. And it wasn't even necessarily the other person's fault. It was just I had no means to communicate that anymore. And so I was just able to pull my energy back. So that's a way I'm able to choose myself. And I feel like that's really important and also goes along with the idea of the tribe. Like, we all need people that we can lean in with, that we can lean into our feelings with, that we can lean into our understandings with, and they can bounce those back to us like, maybe you shouldn't have done that. Maybe you made a mistake, you know, like removing your energy from this person. But the thing is like, of course, like I make mistakes. We all do. We always do, right? But it's how we respond to them. So like, I don't want to beat myself up. So that's a definite way of choosing myself, not to have bad self-talk, which might be another video, self-talk. And just like, maybe I can cultivate a new relationship with someone later, or I can, you know, just allow them their space. But Like choosing yourself and choosing to not allow joy stealers, whether it be yourself or others in your life, is huge. And the last one I wanted to talk about is contrary action. Like, you know, when I'm not feeling great, my immediate go-to is like, let's go to McDonald's and get a cheeseburger. So I have to do the opposite of that, which is let's go home and have something healthy. Because what ends up happening is I'll go with that action that I know historically makes me feel worse about myself. And so I don't want to do that. So I'm taking a whole different action than what I normally would. And like in doing this, you really can get control of your energy and your mind, and finding different ways to react in situations. I have friends who, you know, in the past they would be violent or get angry, and instead they would, you know, they chose to not get angry and pause before responding, and that contrary action has, you know, changed their life. Or like sometimes I'm supposed to be somewhere and I don't want to go, I'll go anyway. I might not stay as long, but I won't, you know, I go anyway, just to take that contrary action to see if this is something that my mind was just fighting against because, you know, I got my ego involved, or if it's something that it's actually good for me and I just didn't know. You know, so contrary action is really important. But all of these ways, I'm sure there's myriad other ways to choose yourself. You know, like standing up for yourself, which is part of having a voice, and then like being heard. Also, hearing yourself and being honest with yourself is really important. That's like a whole other topic. But a lot of times we lie to ourselves to because it's familiar to stay where we are. And, you know, a lot of, like, I have really good friends and I'm in therapy and I have other guides I talk to who will call me on my shit. But, you know, maybe you don't. Maybe you don't have someone who is willing to tell you the truth. And I feel like that's what the journaling really helps with. Like, what is the truth of a situation? So choosing yourself is something that, like, can improve yourself greatly. And I really hope this list has helped you. But the first like step in choosing yourself is to make that decision to do so. And then maybe implement, you know, just one of these and see what happens. And, you know, let me know. And if you know, this video, if you found it helpful, please like, share, and subscribe it. Share it to Facebook or wherever with friends, and like subscribe to my channel, you know, so you get like alerts if I put a new one out. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Love you guys.